why going back to the, the bad old days of Trump, where he just comes out with a word salad and, whatever comes to mind and whatever allegation he can toss out?
That's a great question, Katie, and one that I'll be trying to answer today. Donald Trump has displayed more discipline over the course of this campaign than some of his previous ones in these moments. Not really what you saw here today. Clearly not a prepared statement, clearly not especially focused on the ruling today, but I think goes to the point that he sort of looks at all of these cases holistically, and he tries to argue that they're all related. He's trying to make the case that somehow this is all coordinated by the White House to go after him, and taking advantage of the fact that he's going to have a lot of eyeballs on him because of the Colorado ruling today. But this is it, right? I think you heard there one of the things that I think was most clear was related to the point that Ken made earlier, this idea that arguing that he shouldn't be prosecuted for things. He didn't mention any of the things related to January 6th. He was making a case that he shouldn't be prosecuted for going after ISIS or General Soleimani, the Iranian general who he killed when he was president. Those are not the things that he is being prosecuted for. So trying to project out a little bit of, protection for himself rhetorically as these cases advance, and trying to draw people into the idea that somehow all of these things are part of a massive conspiracy to stop him from being elected president.
Ken, jump in.
Yeah, Garrett's absolutely right. What he's doing is he's grasping at the legitimate argument that there are some cases where perhaps a president should be immune based on the decisions that he or she makes, and he's sort of trying to embrace that argument and use that as a shield. And he's, again, talking about drone strikes that he argued, targeted killings, which, by the way, were not even controversial under law. When people talk about that, whether drone strikes being controversial, they talk about Barack Obama's decision to kill an American citizen, Anwar al-Awlaki. But there was nothing about taking out the leader of ISIS or an Iranian general was remotely illegal under U.S. law. But, yeah, I mean, nothing about his conduct in trying to overturn the election or with regard to classified documents. And it appears that he's hoping that the Supreme Court will issue this blanket immunity, get out of jail free card for presidents. Remember, his lawyers in that appeals court argued that a president could order an assassination of his political opponents and could not be prosecuted unless he was first impeached. That was their argument. That's what they hope the Supreme Court holds. Most legal experts don't think that's how it's going to come out.